Gravity Rush is a game released on the PS Vita about a girl named Kat who finds herself being able to control her own gravitational pull. The game was re-released on the PS4 back in 2016, so there's no better time to try this underrated gem out and get all of its achievements. The game starts with Kat being woken up by an apple, and there's a cat by her side. Just getting this far gives the Lost Cat achievement, which 4.3% of players decided not to do for some reason. We have amnesia and can't remember anything before being grabbed by a man who asked us to save his boy. The cat turns out to give us magical powers, and after a short tutorial we save the boy and then get scolded because we didn't also save the house from destruction as well. Completing this episode earns the trophy From Oblivion. I chase a crow and then it's revealed it's the animal of a person just like us. She leaves and we save an officer from being killed. His name is Sid, and we also find a wanted poster of the person we found, and her name is Raven. We then are introduced to the first combat section of the game. This also unlocks the Shadows Over the City achievement after it's finished. The next mission has us collecting gems to fix a fountain because that's our problem apparently. Gems are important for leveling up our character's abilities. Fixing fountains allows challenge missions to be unlocked, and these net a good amount of gems depending on how well you do in them. Finishing the mission unlocks the achievement Learner's Permit. I earned Frequent Flyer in the challenge mission by landing 10 gravity attacks without landing. I unlocked New Challenger for completing a challenge, and Gold Medalist is for getting gold on the challenge respectively. I earned Pitching Machine for hurling 10 objects into enemies without missing or taking damage. After completing all of the challenge missions in the area with gold medals, I continued the story. Next mission has us gathering furniture for our new home in the sewers. After some gathering I completed the mission and got the Home Sweet Home achievement. We meet back up with Sid, who got a promotion, and we follow him to a church where there's cause to believe that the main bad, Alias, is planning on stealing a sacred gem that apparently holds a great power inside of it. We swap the sacred gem with a fake, so if it's stolen it's not a huge loss, and it turns out the Sid we were talking to was an imposter, and the real Sid was knocked out and the main villain steals it. After dealing with the surrounding enemies, we get the first reputation upgrade after the mission ends, which raises the amount that I can level up my skills, and I unlocked the Hexville Phantom for completing the mission. The first set of side missions in the game have us going to help out the father and son whose house was destroyed at the beginning since they blame us for it, and so we go to a rich person's home to be a maid for them. After a quiz we are accepted, and this unlocks the achievement In Service. We dispose of her trash, get her sundae, and collect pages she let fly out of her house. And finally we got paid. However, there was a girl who needed it more and we gave the money to them. After completing the mission, it unlocks the Diary of a Maid achievement. For the next part of the mission, we go back to the mansion to do our job, but the woman we work for has filed a missing persons report for her husband. We tail her and think we find evidence for her killing the husband. Going down to reclaim the evidence, we find the husband who is safe and we take down some enemies. Afterwards, him and his wife decide to sell the mansion and travel instead, leaving us out of a job and unlocking the Madame and the Shifter achievement. We go to a fortune teller to find out anything important, and she sends us to help a father find his son. After some exploring, we meet God, and he will change our destiny. This unlocks the trophy of Meeting with Destiny. We are sent to a new world to find missing townsfolk that had been taken from the real world. This is one of 3 rifts that need to be closed in the game. These are basically areas with lots of enemies to beat to finally bring an area that had been taken back to the real world. Along the way I defeated a rare enemy that was a lot tougher to kill than all the others, and it gave me the achievement Ancient Game Hunter. I face a final boss and then finish it off to bring the area back to where it should be. Before I can fully celebrate though, Raven shows up and kicks my ass. God comes to save me, and afterwards I unlock the trophy The Lost City for completing the mission. Now I can go to the next area of the game. After getting into the entertainment district, I got gold in all the challenges that were available and then went on with the story. We are tasked with finding out information about this dude's female friend who disappeared. After getting some information, it turns out she's at the school. We find her in the student center before she gets corrupted by her negative energy, and we have to free her from the monster's control. This finishes the mission and unlocks the trophy Too Many Secrets. The next mission already has us going to the next rift to obtain the next area. As much as I hate to admit defeat, I decided to leave the rare enemy for later as I spent 40 minutes trying to beat it and lost every time. We have a boss fight against Raven and end up defeating her and bring back the island to its rightful place. This unlocks the trophy 101 Nights. Boarding the airship takes us to the factory district. I did the challenge missions and this time unlocked a trophy called Apprentice Plumber for earning a silver medal or better in one specific challenge. I then got World Class Plumber for getting gold in that challenge respectively. We meet back up with Sid and we make another plan to swap the sacred gem of this area out with a fake. We rescue some soldiers who were being attacked and then find Alias, who has already found the real gem. We then chase him down and get into a boss fight with him where he ultimately falls into a trash compactor and gets crushed to death. This netted me the trophy, letting Old Ghost die. We meet up with the creator once again for the final rift that needs to be secured. Our cat Dusty, however, got into some treats he wasn't supposed to, so our powers are rather limited at this time. I didn't even bother fighting the rare enemy this time as I knew it wouldn't matter with my limited arsenal. I defeat the boss despite the limitations and the area is brought back to normal. This nets me the trophy Curiosity Killed the Cat. The enemies seeped over to the main world, so we must defeat them. The enemies just keep coming, but the military finally shows up to be of assistance. After beating the enemies, we get invited to join the military, which we decline. Doing this mission unlocks the trophy Thick Skin. Finally, I can go to the final area of the game, which is simply called Downtown. God tells us goodbye, but also tells us we can replay any rift we desire, which is important for the future. I got Gem Collector for collecting 20,000 precious gems, which I did while getting gold on the challenges here. We are tasked with retrieving a letter for a girl, and upon going down we are attacked by Raven. A monster is revealed and one-shots us. This unlocks the Lookout Below achievement. We are then jailed by kids when we awaken and we break out of the prison shortly after. These children had been taken here after their bus fell off the main world. Completing this gives the Kids Just Don't Understand trophy. A monster comes to attack the kids, and after doing probably the worst mission in this game so far, it ends, and I unlock the trophy The Lost Tribe. We save one of the kids from death before she sends us to another world and reveals she too is a god. It is revealed we once lived on the top of the pillar, which the entire world we know is built on. The top of the pillar has royalty, and Kat was actually a queen before she fell off to a different civilization down below. This gives the memories of another world trophy. Kat turns on an ancient aircraft and the worst boss comes back, but this time we're able to defeat it, and this boss battle is slightly better than the first this time. We fall off the aircraft into a different area. Beating the mission earns Children of the Past. When we get to the top we find nobody there, and it turns out that the world has been taken over by a tyrant, and it turns out we've been underground for a whole year. Completing the mission gives the trophy Fading Light. With only 4 missions left, I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to the rifts and get my revenge on those rare enemies. After a little bit of time, I was able to beat the one in the second rift, which gave me Burning Game Hunter. Beating the one in the final rift earns Illusory Game Hunter. Completing the final challenge missions earned Head of Household and Rooftop Walker. Rooftop Runner was for getting gold in the challenge mission. I unlocked Gravitational Anomaly for defeating 8 enemies with a single special attack. I also unlocked Unlimited Shifter and Maximum Shifter for beating that challenge level with gold. I do the next side mission, which is about infiltrating a gang, and after agreeing it gives the achievement Undercover. After doing a race to prove we're good enough to be accepted into it, and after saving them from death, they make us the leader and we disband the group. This earns the trophy A Time to Play. My reputation also gets leveled up to maximum, earning the Top Cat achievement. I decided to do the new challenges around the map, and I unlocked Gem Aficionado for collecting 40,000 gems and Magma Racer for earning silver in one specific challenge, and finally I earned Fireproof Racer for completing out the gold ranking. True Challenger was for beating every challenge in the base game, Silver Lining was for earning silver or better in every challenge, and All That Glitters was for earning gold in every challenge. Mushroom Slider was for getting silver in a specific DLC challenge, and Truffle Slider was for getting gold in that specific DLC challenge. I decided to do the next set of side missions, which are the Special Forces missions. Joining the Special Forces unlocks New Recruit. The next mission has us doing the basic training test, but halfway through a soldier needs escorting back to base. We are about to be discharged for leaving the test, but enemies attack the city and we have to save it. We are then enlisted and it earns the Rules of War achievement. We are then tasked with guarding a ship meant to capture the enemies for testing purposes. We abandoned the mission to save a ship that had been shot down, and the Harvester's engine shut down. This initiates the worst mission in the game. You have to carry water tanks to put out fires, but it is very clear this game is not meant for that type of precision, so you have to get super close to the fires to put them out, and if you throw it near an enemy, it will 9 out of 10 times hit the enemy instead of the fire. Afterwards, we quit the Special Forces as we wish to help everyone, not just settle on the big picture. Beating this mission unlocks the Phantom of Bravery and the Special Forces achievement for completing all the missions and challenges for this DLC. I can finally do the final side mission of the game. This time Alias has returned and set bombs around the city. After taking care of them, we go to his whereabouts and enemies start appearing. After beating them all, it turns out that it was just a crazed fan, and after dropping him to his death like he deserves, the mission ends and I earn the achievement The Dream Life of Ghosts. I unlocked Super Spy for completing all the missions for the DLC, Super Pitcher for getting silver on a specific challenge, and All-Star Pitcher for getting gold on a specific challenge. Only 2 miscellaneous trophies, but only 1 is doable right now. Going underground is for finding all the manholes. These act as warp points in the game, though I only really use them to go between different districts and not somewhere else in the city, as traveling in one city by hand was oftentimes not very cumbersome. The next mission had us helping a scientist place sensors all around, which ends up being meaningless as he blows them all up anyway. This unlocks Edric's on call. I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry if I messed it up. I go home to rest, and in the middle of the night I start getting a nightmare and have to reassemble Dusty. We also find the other god has returned. Completing the mission unlocks Falling to Pieces. The other god can send us back to the world at the bottom of the pillar, and so it will allow me to collect the final miscellaneous trophy. Lost in Time and Space is obtained by finding 2 lovers trapped in different parallel dimensions. There's 16 of them to find, with 2 being in each area. This doesn't exactly get resolved cleanly, but we are able to let the wife know that her husband is still alive before she leaves, unlocking the trophy. While the husband probably died, or maybe not, who really knows. The final 2 missions are here. We are told that the end is near by God, and we have to make peace with whatever hasn't been done. The mayor unleashes his new weapon, and the new weapon actually is incredible, being able to take down enemies we struggle with in a single shot. We are then told we are under arrest. After a boss fight against my partner and the special forces named Unica, we are able to take them down, but Dusty is then captured, and we are captured as well and put in cryostasis. Sid shoots the machine carrying us and questions the orders of the government. The weapon breaks down and begins firing indiscriminately, taking down a military airship with it. We are freed from containment and go to stop the weapon. Completing the mission unlocks the trophy in Unguarded Moment. None of our attacks work on it, even our special moves. The core is exposed with Unica's last bit of strength, revealing that the secret weapon is an enemy in of itself. Even after hitting the core though, it just grows more weak spots. After defeating the rest of his weak spots, it attaches itself to the watchtower and prepares a beam that will destroy the entire city. God allows us to attack him to create a terror in time and space, and doing so unleashes the ancient aircraft from wherever it was. Raven emerges to help us. The mayor decides to self-destruct the machine, taking out this district and many lives, but he is stereotypically evil, so he doesn't care. After some teamwork, we're able to take its shield down, and using the power of friendship, we are able to use the finisher on it, defeating it, and it blows up the mayor, thus bringing an end to corrupt politicians forever. This unlocks the trophy No Rest for the Virtuous and the platinum It's All Relative. Now, time for my personal thoughts about this. A much longer game than the last 2, but it was quite a unique concept overall. With that being said, there were parts I really disliked about this game. Ironically, when they decided to be more experimental on the gameplay formula, I didn't like it as much. When they just let me play the game with the same formula I did the entire game, I really enjoyed it. I will say though, it wasn't perfect. There were many moments in the game where Cat would just decide to not kill an enemy or just glide off them. I think this game would really benefit with some sort of lock-on mechanic. They sort of do that in the game, but it's just really clunky. Plus, there were some clunky movement moments, especially with some of the gliding races, but overall, despite those flaws that may seem really major, I enjoyed my time majorly, and the fact they got such a unique game working on the Vita of all things is amazing. I do have a hard time recommending this to many people though, mostly because of the fact that I was getting pretty motion sick at points, and I don't get motion sick very often. But if this seems to be your type of game, or you are at least curious, I'd recommend you try it out for yourself. It may not have the most original story or best gameplay or anything like that, but it knows what it wants to be for the most part, and in the experimental missions, it decides it's a one-time thing. With all this being said, I'll give the Platinum difficulty a 4 out of 10, and the personal game ranking a 7.5 out of 10. Now with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you got this far, you are the best, and until next time, have the day you deserve.